Councillor, firstly, it's an honour to be invited to the Mayor's Parlour. Sikhs in the UK, as a lot of people know, have been sort of respected on so many levels. We've had huge success, not only because of our integration into British values and being an integral part of British values, but also our extraordinary success. And that's not just our hard work ethic or our great literacy rates or our business acumen or our charitable work, but it's also to do with the attitude towards our neighbour and the rule of law. We have extraordinarily low crime rates, and that's something to be proud of. But Sikhs in India are seen as quite differently to the way we're viewed in this country. Just to give a brief background, and the briefest of backgrounds, because we have a YouTube channel called RajoanaTV, and we've taken a forensic approach to the events of 1984, what led to them, and what happened after 1984. So we urge people to watch that. But after decades of sort of oppression against the Sikhs, and it wasn't, you know, using bombs or guns or tanks, it was a kind of a war that you don't really see. It was by siphoning off Punjab's electricity. It was by siphoning off Punjab's water illegally. It was by truncating Punjab so it's completely small and can't stand on its own. It was crippling Punjab's economy. And there was also a denial of Sikhs themselves. In this country in 1981, in the Mandla vs. Lee case, we were seen as a distinct ethnic minority, a distinct race of people. To this day, we're not even recognised as Sikhs in the constitution. So not only was our language denied and our existence, but so was all our natural resources, which was draining Punjab. So people started protesting. They took part in civil disobedience and mass protests, which was peaceful and their democratic right. But the Indian establishment, rather than talk to them in a democratic way, India calls itself the third largest democracy in the world. Their job was to talk to these people and ask them what they wanted and how they can better their lives. Instead of that, they brought the full might of the armed forces and lay a military siege on our holy Sikh shrine. And in that military siege, codenamed Operation Blue Star, more than 5,000 innocent pilgrims lost their lives. And although we commemorate the people who lost their lives in that operation, where all media was gagged, and Punjab, the size of Wales, was cordoned off from the whole of the world for a whole week, even though 5,000 people lost their lives then, what happened post-Operation Blue Star was even worse. For the next 20 years, for 2 decades, the Indian establishment combed the streets, the fields and the villages of the Punjab and picked up young men like myself and killed them in extrajudicial killings, fake encounters and forced disappearances. Through this process, a man called Jaswant Singh Khalra, a human rights activist who himself was made to disappear in 1995, found 25,000 illegally cremated, unidentified Sikh bodies. This is the equivalent of the British Armed Forces and the British police laying siege to Scotland for asking for a referendum. This was the equivalent. The reason why 1984 and the events which led up to 1984 and post-1984, the reason why they're so raw to somebody like myself who was born in 81, and I was only 3 years old when the actual attack took place, is because, as Rob Maris has already suggested, and incidentally I'm glad he's representing Wolverhampton even though I don't live here, Rob Maris has already suggested that the killers are still roaming free. Sikhs haven't had their Nuremberg trials. Not only are the killers roaming free, but they're actually running government. People who were MPs at the time entered India's cabinet after the genocide, rewarding the killers. And in fact, the exact opposite is happening. And this is why Sikhs are still, the embers of 84 are still burning, is because the exact opposite is happening. Not only are the killers, the people who picked up young men and young women and made them disappear, not only are they walking free, but Sikh youths are languishing in Indian jails on trumped-up charges backed by draconian laws. To this day, there are thousands of Sikh youths who have spent their whole lives in jail, and these are political prisoners. They haven't committed a crime. So our aim, our goal, is to release these prisoners and to change the system in India to make sure that nobody is persecuted based on their appearance or belief system.